provide you with the lowest per GB rates, night or day. SLT 4G, driving you ever forward.
Making headlines on First at 9. The new cabinet. Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa of the UMP among the new cabinet of ministers appointed this evening. Further assurance. President Maithripala Sirisena promises measures to expedite provincial council elections. Familiar return. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa takes office in his second stint as Premier. Rumble at Petco. Former Subject Minister Arjuna Ranatunga arrested over yesterday's shooting and granted bail. Lion Air crash. Boeing 737 aircraft crashes with 189 people on board. A very good evening and welcome to First at 9 on other Derana 24/7, Sri Lanka's news channel. I'm Katharina Chang. Now moving on to our top story tonight. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa assumed office today as the 22nd Premier of Sri Lanka at the Premier's office in Colombo. He became the 18th Prime Minister of Sri Lanka during his first stint in the Premier's office in 2004, before going on to become the President in 2005. This marks the first occasion in Sri Lanka's history where an executive president who had served and concluded his official term in office being reappointed the Prime Minister of the country.
Newly appointed Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa was warmly welcomed by parliamentarians representing the UPFA as well as supporters of the party at the Premier's office today. In keeping with tradition, the Prime Minister officially assumed duties at an auspicious time after engaging in religious observances. Religious leaders then invoked blessings on Premier Rajapaksa.
Sada sotti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanu. Sada sotti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata bhavantu te.
ඔබතුමාට තියෙන එකම එක ගිවිසුමයි.
You only have one agreement, and that is with the public. You don't have agreements with politicians, various other groups or any other diasporas. So start over from where it ended in 2015. I would like to wish you all the strength for this journey.
ශක්තිය වාසනාව උදා වේවා කියලා සුභාශිංසනය කරමින් මම මගේ කෙටි අනුශාසනාව අවසන් කරනවා.
Honorable Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa sir, you are father of peace. உங்களுக்கு ஆசீர்வதிக்க வேண்டும். நன்றி வணக்கம். सर्वे जनाः सुखिनो भवन्तु.
आर्थिक युद्धे
We wish that you would be able to deliver this country from this economic downfall. On behalf of the Muslim community, I also extend my wishes for you to uplift this country internationally. We welcome and accept this fortunate leader as our Prime Minister. God bless you and all the ministers under you. Amen.
Meanwhile, commanders of the tri-forces met with the Prime Minister in the afternoon, where they held discussions regarding matters pertaining to the country's security.
President Maithripala Sirisena appointed his new cabinet under the premiership of Mahinda Rajapaksa today. 12 cabinet portfolios, a deputy portfolio and a state ministerial portfolio were given away under the interim government today that was set up after Sri Lanka Freedom Party withdrew from the UMP-led coalition government.
The cabinet of ministers in the interim government was appointed this evening at the Presidential Secretariat. The new appointments saw Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa being given the portfolio of Finance and Economic Affairs. Former Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation Nimal Siripala de Silva meanwhile retained his portfolio. Dr. Sarath Amunugama, who was earlier the Minister of Science, Technology, Research, Skills Development, Vocational Training and Canadian Heritage, was appointed Minister of Foreign Affairs. Mahinda Samarasinghe, who was in charge of the Ministry of Ports and Shipping, also retained his position. Former Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amaravira also continues in his position. There was also no change to the portfolio of former Minister of Power and Renewable Energy Ranjit Siambalapitiya. Former Minister of Higher Education and Cultural Affairs Minister Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa was given a new portfolio, with him being made the Minister of Education in place of Cultural Affairs. Ministries of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development as well as Rural Economic Affairs go back to familiar hands as Vijit Vijay Muni Soisa is appointed as their minister. Former Minister of Provincial Councils, Local Government and Sports Faiza Mustafa too retains his portfolio. Parliamentarian of EPDP Douglas Devananda was sworn in as the Minister of Resettlement, Rehabilitation, Northern Development and Hindu Religious Affairs. UPFA Parliamentarian Arumugam Thundaman was sworn in as the Minister of Hill Country, New Villages, Infrastructure and Community Development. Former State Minister of Foreign Affairs UNP Parliamentarian Vasantha Senanayake took oath as the Minister of Tourism and Wildlife. UNP Parliamentarian Vadivel Suresh was also given a portfolio as he was made the State Minister of Plantation Industries. UNP's Member of Parliament Ananda Aludgamage was sworn in as the Deputy Minister of Tourism and Wildlife.
President Maithripala Sirisena pledges measures to hold the provincial council election as soon as possible. The comments of the head of state came at the national WAP ceremony in Tissamaharama today, where he was accompanied by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa before the Premier assumed duties.
The national WAP ceremony was presided over by President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at the paddy fields adjacent the Tissamaharama temple this morning. President Sirisena and Prime Minister Rajapaksa engaged in religious observances at the temple before commencing the WAP festival, following which the WAP ceremony got underway. Former Minister of Agriculture Parliamentarian Mahinda Amaravira and former Speaker Chamal Rajapaksa also attended the event.
We intend to hold the provincial council election under a new government as soon as possible as a measure to strengthen democracy. Officials of 6 provincial councils are clueless. Officials can only fulfill their duties under certain restrictions due to circulars. Political leadership is important when doing things in the interest of the public by going against circulars. Law and regulations as well as circulars should be used for the betterment of the people. People who were responsible failed to provide answers to the people in the north during the past 3.5 years. The cabinet could only talk about building houses in the north so far. They spent all these years from 2015 to decide which minister would undertake this duty, along with the foreign funds that came with it. As a new government, everyone should unite and work towards reducing the cost of living and achieving economic prosperity and a disciplined society. I humbly request all political parties which appointed Mahinda Rajapaksa as the Prime Minister, state officials as well as citizens of Sri Lanka to help make Sri Lanka a better place through the strength of harmony and brotherhood. It's a day of happiness for you and I. We were given a duty and we had the responsibility of fulfilling that duty. The President called me and said that we as the Alliance should take a decision. We decided that there is no good for the country or the people by being in this government. When he asked me, I was more than happy to sign the letter of the UPFA's withdrawal from the National Unity Government. The President possesses the full power to appoint a new Prime Minister according to the Constitution. I can guarantee that the Prime Minister appointed with the blessings of the President has the power to get more than 113.
Former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that he rejects all allegations made by President Maithripala Sirisena. Addressing the nation in an official address today, the former Premier said that he is disappointed that the President selected a Prime Minister who did not have the majority in Parliament.
President Maithripala Sirisena, who addressed the nation yesterday, made various allegations against me and the Cabinet of Ministers. I vehemently reject all these allegations. Following the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, powers vested on the President were curtailed. The President said that he was left with no choice but to appoint former President Mahinda Rajapaksa as Prime Minister because of political crisis, economic instability and revelations made in the plot to assassinate him. I am saddened by the fact that the President Parliament nominated someone who did not command the majority. He is now making up stories even a child would not believe in order to cover up his mistake. All political parties and civil society are requesting that the Parliament be convened. The international community is demanding that we work according to the Constitution. Therefore, I request the Speaker to convene Parliament as soon as possible.
කතානායකතුමාගෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා වහාම පාර්ලිමේන්තුව කැඳවන ලෙස.
Meanwhile, former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe stresses that the President cannot override the Parliament, adding that the Speaker has powers to summon Parliament and he will take the due course of action tomorrow. Expressing his views to foreign journalists at Temple Trees today, the former Premier stated that Parliament should be summoned in order to resolve the issues currently surrounding the Premiership in accordance to the Constitution. Furthermore, the leader of the United National Party said that his controversial sacking has left the country in a power vacuum and demanded that Parliament be allowed to end a standoff with the President. Speaking to media, he noted, quote, "That is why we want Parliament summoned immediately to decide who enjoys the majority. I am still the Prime Minister who commands that majority," unquote. Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundara has ordered the security detail of former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe to be reduced from 1,008 to 10 personnel. Meanwhile, UMP MPs Vasantha Senanayake and Vadivel Suresh, who earlier received portfolios, pledged their support to the new appointed Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa yesterday, met with leader of the party Ranil Wickremesinghe today to reassure their loyalty to the United National Party. Leader of the United National Party and former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is adamant that the appointment of the new Premier is unconstitutional remained at Temple Trees today as well. The former Prime Minister continues to insist that Parliament should convene in order for him to prove that he still commands loyalty of the majority in Parliament. Meanwhile, UMP MP and former State Minister of Foreign Affairs Vasantha Senanayake, who returned to the island yesterday, announced that he would pledge his allegiance to the new Premier if 3 of his conditions are met.
The government of good governance is by far the worst government to come into power. Therefore, I am happy that this came to an end. There are 3 conditions that need to be met if I am to join them. First, I must be invited, and if I am invited, then I should be given the freedom to help the people of Polonnaruwa. There is no point in giving me a position if I can't do this. Thirdly, the people of Polonnaruwa should give me their permission to join them.
However, the MP who met with the former Prime Minister last night gave a completely different reaction today.
There is only one Prime Minister. It could be Mahinda Rajapaksa or Ranil Wickremesinghe. As to who is the real Prime Minister, it will be decided by law. There are certain disappointments I have with the party. I have always voiced my thoughts about this.
Meanwhile, UMP MP Vadivel Suresh, who pledged his support to newly appointed Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa last night, met with the former Prime Minister this morning. Speaking to media following the meeting, he said that even though he met with Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, he did not pledge his support.
Once I heard that Mahinda Rajapaksa, who lost in the election, became Prime Minister, I went to congratulate him. This is the tradition and custom I follow as per my religion. It does not mean I changed my party. I will work according to the decisions made by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and the party.
Meanwhile, UMP MPs expressed their views on the decision to hold demonstrations pertaining to the move to reduce the number of security personnel of the former Premier and the appointment of the new Prime Minister.
The current President and the government will have to take the responsibility if the life of Ranil Wickremesinghe is jeopardized. Over 50,000 people are prepared to launch a protest demanding necessary security in areas of Kolpiti and Temple Trees and ensure that democracy is protected. We invite all those who voted for us to take part in this demonstration. The Bond Commission report does not show any affiliation of the Prime Minister or any other minister in the scam. The assassination plot too is an utter lie.
There is a illegality in this. The constitution is being violated. So all of us who has an interest in the country, who has a little bit of self-consciousness, what is right and what is wrong, must come to the road and first protect your rights first. So constitutionally, if the parliament is convened, then people's voice can be heard in parliament and they will speak and then they will say who has the majority.
දැන් අවුරුදු 3ක් මේ රජයේ බලයට
It has been 3 years since this government came to power. But in the past 3 years, Ranil Wickremesinghe has not called even one provincial councillor. Akhila Viraj Karyavasam, our General Secretary, is coming us to come to Colombo and save the Prime Minister. We will come to Colombo, but not for the Prime Minister, but to call for a new leadership to the United National Party so that we can create a UNP-led government in the future. My leader is Sajid Premadasa. Tomorrow will be the last time we show our support, but after that, we will not go to Sirikota or Temple Trees.
අලිගමන්දර යන්නෙත් නැහැ.
Security personnel who were stationed at Temple Trees were seen leaving early this morning. According to a communique issued to media yesterday, the removal of the former Prime Minister's security detail comes in line with an order issued by Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundara. Governors of all 9 provinces in the country assure that President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa have their fullest support ensuring smooth administration in all provinces. Addressing a media briefing in Colombo today, all the governors said that it was a unanimous decision.
Very considered decision taken by His Excellency the President was based on a number of issues that came up in the recent times. So as to remedy all those defects, His Excellency has taken certain steps, and we as the governors of all provinces have unanimously decided to give him all support to carry on with the programs. It is an opportunity now given to the governors to carry on the programs without let or hindrance. Speaking for my province, that's the Northwestern Province, I found in the recent times that the local government institutions are unable to carry on their work because some of the programs that they should normally be doing have been thrust from Colombo. In other words, the powers that are given to the local bodies have been completely derogated, and that situation will not arise in the future. All decisions, local decisions, will be taken by the local authorities. Of course, we'll provide the money to take technical guidance. And I wish His Excellency, the new government, in their future endeavours, congratulate the Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker of Parliament Karu Jayasuriya reiterates that the confusion over which party commands the majority of a power within Parliament can be eliminated by simply summoning the Parliament soon. The Speaker touched on the much talked about topic during a meeting with Chief Prelates of Asgiri and Malwata chapters today.
Speaker of Parliament Karu Jayasuriya today called on Chief Prelate of the Asgiri chapter, Most Venerable Varakakoda Sri Gnana Ratanathera at the Asgiri temple in Kandy.
I too have a responsibility as the Speaker of the Supreme Parliament. I didn't come here to speak on behalf of any person or position. I've already made a request that Parliament be summoned to discuss these matters because it is the Parliament which has to take a final decision in this regard. Both parties are saying that they command the majority in Parliament. Supporters of one party came to Colombo today and supporters of the other party are planning to come to the city tomorrow. Tense situations could erupt in this backdrop. The only simple solution for all of this is to convene the Parliament. Otherwise, there could be bloodshed. Once the Parliament convenes, the full confidence of the House will be given to the chosen individual. Isn't this fair, Venerable Thera?
The Speaker also met with Chief Prelate of the Malwata chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuwave Sri Sumangala Thera, and expressed views regarding the current political situation.
In this backdrop, there are instances where some people can't even go to their offices. Tourist arrivals are affected because embassies have issued travel advisories. This has a direct impact on the economy. Most countries are urging that we solve this problem, and that's what I say as well.
Later, Speaker of Parliament Karu Jayasuriya spoke to media.
I'm not concerned about Parliament being prorogued or the new appointment of the Prime Minister because it has to be looked at separately. However, my responsibility is to ensure that this problem does not get out of hand. This is why I met with Chief Prelates to talk about this issue.
Meanwhile, Acting Ambassador of the US Embassy in Sri Lanka, Robert Hilton, and Head of the Political Affairs Division in the Embassy, Anthony Renzulli, met with Speaker Karu Jayasuriya today to discuss the current political developments.
Former Minister of Petroleum Resources Development Arjuna Rantunga was arrested by the Colombo Crime Division this evening over the incident that took place at the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation premises yesterday, which involved a shooting. He was later produced before the Half-Staff Magistrate Court, following which he was granted a surety bail of 500,000 rupees. The shooting left one person dead and two others injured.
A tense situation erupted yesterday when former Minister of Petroleum Resources Development Arjuna Ranatunga arrived at the premises of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation to collect some of his documents. According to police, a security officer of the former minister had fired several shots, leaving 3 injured. 3 employees were injured, amongst which one succumbed to his injuries during treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. However, measures were taken to deploy personnel of the Police Special Task Force to bring the situation under control. 3 hours later, former Minister Arjuna Ranatunga was escorted out of the building by STF personnel, disguising him as a STF officer. Later, the former minister filed a complaint with the police, following which he held a media briefing at Temple Trees.
My ministerial office is on the 4th floor of the Petco building. I called the secretary to the ministry asking for the keys. He said that he would send an additional secretary within half an hour. When I was seated at the ground floor, an urban councillor named Kulatissa Giganage shouted at me and he was drunk. My security officers chased him out. A trade union member named Bandula Samankumara arrived at the scene with a group of people armed with bats and iron rods and attempted to assault me. When one tried to grab the pistol of a security guard of mine, the guard shot them. I went with the intention of clearing out my office in order to make space for the new minister to be appointed. I told my secretary to hand over all my vehicles. My guards are there to protect me. Had they grabbed the pistol, I would be shot the next minute.
Meanwhile, 2 women employed at the Petco who were partial to the former minister were stuck inside the building. They too had to be escorted out under the protection of the STF. The duo faced strong objections from other employees and were also pelted with stones on their way out. The Petco employee who succumbed to his injuries following the incident was identified as 34-year-old REA Rajapaksa. A spokesperson of the National Hospital said that the 2 other employees are in critical condition. SLFP trade unions of Petco, however, began a protest yesterday demanding the immediate arrest of the former minister over the incident while withdrawing from petroleum distribution activities. With the announcement of a strike, long queues were seen at fueling stations last night. It was a similar scenario at fueling stations this morning as well. Former Minister Arjuna Ranatunga was arrested by the Colombo Crime Division this evening, following which the strike was called off. After being produced before the Halsdorf Magistrates Court, former Minister Ranatunga was granted a surety bail of 500,000 rupees. Former minister's security officer who fired several shots were also produced before the Halsdorf Magistrate Court and was remanded until the 12th of next month.
The Election Commission intends to consult the Supreme Court on the course of action to be taken over the delay in holding provincial council elections. This was revealed by Chairman of the Election Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, as he addressed a media briefing this morning.
The electoral registry for the year 2018 is compiled and finalised. We will also make a supplementary list for people who left their ancestral line owing to violence and are currently in the process of being resettled. We request all to let the Parliament handle the delay in provincial council elections if you really want it to be held soon. Maitri Gunaratne and Basil Rajapaksha questioned as to why the Election Commission isn't going to court over this. At the moment, the review committee is working on it and we have to wait until the process is finished. We also hope to seek advice from the Supreme Court on whether the Commission should do anything. At the same time, the term of the review committee expires today. Former Commissioner General of Elections, Ananda Ratnagar, said that they didn't have enough details for a report. Accordingly, we are left with two alternatives. Those are to approve the old delimitation report or to make amendments to it. If we are to amend the report, the elections will be postponed once more. We won't write to the Parliament again as there is no use. The Election Commission can't predict when the Parliament would finalise this.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
The Asia Prize Index rose sharp 1.92%, up 122.22 and is at 5,944.18 points. And the S&P 20 of more liquid stocks gained 2.04%, up 6,126 points to 3,058.59. The market turnover was 4.16 billion rupees, with 165 stocks making gains against 18 that declined. We now have Amanda Lokugamge from First Capital Holdings with a full report.
The index ended in green, mainly contributed by distilleries and commercial bank, recording the highest gain in nearly 4 years, with the changes occurred on the political front on last Friday. All share price index witnessed a surge during the first half an hour of trading and continued on a sideways momentum to close the day at 5,944, gaining 112 points. Turnover recorded a 6-month high, while 71% derived from John Keys. On the crossings board, 13 parcel trades were witnessed, with 6 crossings each on John Keys and HNB, and a single crossing on Softlogic Holdings, while a net foreign outflow was witnessed amidst high foreign participation.
An aircraft with 189 people on board crashed in the sea of Indonesia's island of Java today, shortly after takeoff from the country's capital, Jakarta. Rescuers have recovered some remains, and the latest report confirms that no one on board survived the crash.
A Boeing 737 Lion Air passenger plane with 189 people on board crashed into the sea shortly after taking off from the Indonesian capital, Jakarta, today. Flight JT610 was headed for Bangka Belitung Islands when it lost contact. Indonesia's Search and Rescue Agency confirmed the crash, adding that it lost contact with ground officials 13 minutes after takeoff, and a tugboat leaving the capital's port saw it fall. The cause of the crash remains unclear. Rescuers have recovered body parts and items believed to have belonged to passengers, including baby shoes, ID cards and driver's licenses. Distraught family members of those on board have been gathering at Jakarta's Halim Perdana Kusuma airport as they wait for news. The incident is reported to be the first major accident involving a Boeing 737 MAX, an updated version of the 737. Lion Air said the aircraft involved in the crash was made in 2018 and has only been operated by the airline since the 15th of August this year. It had 181 passengers, including 1 child and 2 babies, as well as 7 crew members when it crashed.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel has told her CDU party that she will not run for re-election as its chairwoman in December. Her decision comes after her party suffered heavy losses in regional elections that threatened the stability of the governing coalition. She has, however, said that she would like to remain in the post of Germany's Chancellor until 2021. Angela Merkel has led Germany as Chancellor since 2004 as the country's first female Chancellor and rose to power on the image of a prudent and pragmatic leader. It was, however, her open-door refuge policy that sparked public concern and helped fuel parties like the far-right Alternative for Germany. Merkel's migration policy has exposed the fragility of her divided coalition government and even within her own political group. Sexual assaults by migrants in Cologne and Islamist attacks in Germany all dented the Chancellor's popularity. Up next is just a short commercial break.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
World number 3 and home favourite Roger Federer beat Romanian qualifier Marius Copil to win the Swiss indoors yesterday to claim his 99 career title in Basel. Meanwhile, at Vienna Open, South African Kevin Anderson defeated Japan's Kei Nishikori, securing a spot at next month's season-ending ATP finals.
The Swiss top seed was made to work hard by the fearless Copil, whose path to the final included wins over world number 6 Marin Cilic and number 5 Alexander Zverev. With a score of 7-6, 6-4, he closed out the victory in 1 hour 34 minutes for his 4th consecutive title in Basel. Big serving South African Kevin Anderson secured his spot at next month's season-ending ATP finals by defeating Japan's Kei Nishikori 6-3, 7-6 to win the Vienna Open yesterday. The world number 8 sent down 13 aces and 36 winners, winning 91% of his first serve points as he wrapped up victory in just under 2 hours.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for now, temperatures are to vary between 20 and 29 degrees Celsius with the highest of 29 expected in Ampara. A low pressure zone will develop in the central hills and will gradually spread throughout the island. The prevailing rainy conditions in the country will continue as most parts of the island are to experience showers with thundershower activity also forecast. Let's now take a look at your weather forecast or your city-by-city forecast for the next 24 hours. And that is all we have from the news desk tonight. But before you go, we'd like to take you to the hill country of Sri Lanka, where astonishing waterfalls and stupendous views of grace and landscape, which was also the last to fall during the colonial era.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.